Rosario, our audience is very savvy on the issue of identity. But one of the issues that I don't think is addressed enough is the fact that identities are extraordinarily fluid. What are we missing here in the sort of management of identities?
There's still the fundamental question of what is an identity. The core of identity is the human. Mm-hmm. And that concept of ownership, I think, is central to managing your identity hygiene, which is what we do.
There's a lot of machine identities out there that aren't necessarily attached to a specific human.
Sort of. While a machine identity is tied to a machine, ultimately that machine has to communicate with another machine, with another application.
Correct.
But if you need to make a change, if that relationship should not exist, you have to have someone who takes responsibility for saying it's okay. So while the machine identity can live on its own as an identity, you still have to have that human. And that's why we always say that ownership is at the core of everything that we do.
It's all about the word ownership. So ownership of my own accounts or the accounts that I have to manage, right?
It's ownership of everything, because ultimately, I think a lot of the problems are in some of the software that kind of tells you about security issues or tries to manage your identities, is that it will tell you everything that's wrong, but then it doesn't go that extra step.
I can show you all your problems and tell you what you need to remediate first, but won't actually solve the problem.
It's easy to tell someone this is everything you're doing wrong. It's much more difficult to actually give them a path to how to fix those wrong things. So you need that person, you need that owner. It doesn't matter if it's a machine, an application, an identity. Anything requires someone that can say, yes, it is okay to do this. I understand what you're doing. I give you the okay to do it, so that when someone goes and makes the change for good reason, right? They want to reduce risk. We make sure that we're also not introducing now an operational risk, an outage, a break.
What is Sphere doing to essentially deal with the identity problem on a fluid basis, but attach it to the human that is either owning it or responsible for it?
So we say that ownership is at the center of everything that we do, because we do the whole life cycle. And most of the companies that we work with say ownership is one of their biggest challenges. So the first thing that we did was address that. And we addressed that through ownership methods. So we created what we call our ARM tool that fundamentally can reach out to those owners, give them a simple interface, a simple way to understand, simple questions to answer, get those responses, and then great. Now you've gotten the responses, you know you could do it, but there's still one more challenge. The actual making the change is cumbersome. So our virtual workers automates all that. So if you think about the whole process of discovery, you found all the issues, you then apply that layer of controls to then see where the violations are. The violations are your call to action. And now you've discovered all these things that violate those controls. You then apply ownership methods to figure out exactly who owns these methods. Until a human says, yes, I am taking responsibility for this asset, you don't have an owner. You have a proposed owner. So we have this concept of a proposed owner that are algorithms, which are robust and can find really, really good ownership. But then we have this concept of confirmed owner, because you need that human to say, yes, I am taking responsibility. And only when you have that confirmed owner, which, by the way, that owner can then reassign, then when they tell you it's okay to make this change, you can make this change.
Very, very good explanation. And I think it's pretty darn cool what you're doing over there at Sphere. If you want to learn more about what Sphere is doing, go to their website. The information's right there, sphereco.com. Head on over and check it out.